Hi, my name is Lenny, but you may call me Professor Lenino, and this is my little introduction on web programming, specifically JavaScript. So if you're interested in programming for the web, but you have no idea about it, this is the video for you. Well, when you are in your computer and you type an address, let's say you go to lenino.net, which is my website plug, your computer calls on the internet to kind of reach what that address is, as if it was making a phone call, as if this address is a phone number or a physical address. The internet, which is usually represented by a cloud, it eventually will find the server or computer that holds or that owns this URL. And inside the server is going to find the folder where that website lives. And it's going to look for a file named index.htm or index.html. And that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is the actual language that these files are written in. Once it finds that folder and file, it will go and pick up that file and send it to your browser, and that's pretty much how you get a website into your browser. A server is a computer that is all the time connected to the internet and online, waiting for requests from the internet to deliver files. So your website doesn't really live on your computer. Your computer is not always online and not always on. I hope it isn't. And if it is, maybe you should turn it into a server or call it so. So for now, we're going to use a website that allows us to write there and simulate like we have a server. Once we know how to program and we want to build our actual website, we might have to pay for a service to give us a server and also to buy our own URL, our unique URL. To create this server, we're going to go first to my website, lenino.net. Sorry, it's .net. In my website, if you go to projects, you're going to find a project called DOM.js. This is a library that would allow us to code even faster on the main programming language for the browser, which is called JavaScript. It's called DOM.js. We're going to click on it, and this is going to take us to where my project lives. In the first page right there, you're going to see that there's some lines of code. And on the right, you can find a little button which is just to copy that code. We're going to click there, and then that is copied. With that copied, we're going to go to a website called JSFiddle. This is the website that is going to help us simulate a server, and it's going to allow us to program and display what we're programming. JSFiddle.net. This is kind of like what JSFiddle look. If it doesn't look quite like that, you might want to go to the settings in the top right and select tabs column. This allows you to see one portion of your code at a time instead of the classic, which breaks the whole screen in 4, and you're going to see multiple files at once, and we don't want that. So select the tabs column from the settings, and also down here you're going to find something called behavior, auto run code. This is also going to help us so that as we are typing, our code gets immediately auto run or compile or shown. All right, so with this settings ready, we are ready to start coding. In this page, we have 3 tabs. The HTML tab, and remember that index.html file, this hypertext markup language, this is where it goes in this area. We also have a JavaScript, and as I told you, JavaScript is a language, a coding language that the browser compiles, and we can give it commands and things to do dynamic things with. There's also another tab called CSS, which is for styling, but we're not going to use it at all. Let's go first to the HTML tab, and here we're going to paste the code that we copied from the DOM.js library. Nothing is going to happen. Well, we just got a white page. That's fine. And that is all we need for HTML. I'm not even going to go through it. We don't need it. We're going to go immediately to JavaScript because this is the language that I really want to teach you and the language that is actually fun. We're not even going to have to touch the HTML language. So let's do something quick with JavaScript. JavaScript, as any programming language and as any language, will have words that we're going to start learning, which are called commands. and also things that are called variables and functions that we can call upon it to do actions. Right now, I'm going to type DOM.set and parentheses. It's a method from that library that we just copied from my project that allows us to display things on the browser with ease. I'm going to type here hello world. And as you see, I typed it between quotes. These quotes indicate that this is a phrase. So I'm telling the DOM, or the structure of my document, to set that phrase on it. And we see that on the right side of our screen, the word hello world with a typo appears. I'm going to refresh that, and there it is. As I type anything here, my name is Lenino. We're going to see it appear next because it's being auto-compiled. Let's forget about this line of code. I'm going to show you a new command called let. And I'm going to type let w equal 50, right? The command let, what it does is allow a word or letter to become a variable that holds a value. So right now, the letter W holds the value 50, meaning that W is 50 right now. If I go and type DOM.set, and in the parentheses I put the W, we're going to see how 50 appears in my page, because I'm telling the document to set this, the content of W, there. At the end of every line of command, you're going to see a semicolon. It's customary to put that there to indicate that my command, my line, ends there. Right now, there are 2 lines of command. And even though there's space between them, and you can have more than one space, it's still considered 2 lines of command. JavaScript doesn't require that you put the semicolon at the end. Every line is a command. But it makes it easier for you to have something definite that says it ends there. And most programmers see this as almost necessary. So if you get used to doing it, it's probably easier for you to follow your code later on. Let's create another variable. I'm going to say let h equals 20. And I'm going to now say DOM.set h. So the 20 is going to appear, no longer the W, because I'm just setting that one there. We see how we use the same command, let, or allow age to hold or to be the value 20. And that's a second line of code. Something else we can do is, for instance, I'm going to say let area equals W times age. Times, or the operator for time, is the asterisk, not the X in the programming language. So now if I display area in here, I get 1,000, which is 50 times 20. If I change the operator to plus, then the value of area is going to be 70. If I change it to divide, which is indicated by a slash, then we get 2.5. So we have learned in this exercise some concepts. First, commands, which in this particular editor come out as purple, and these are words that the language knows. Then we have learned variables, which once we declare it, they come out as yellow here. And it's a word that we are going to assign a value to hold. And then we have values, in this case, numeric values. You see how the W and the H no longer appears in yellow. Only the first time you initialize them, the initial time you create them. And then we also learn about this command called DOM.set with a parenthesis, which will display anything we put inside the parenthesis in our browser. As you can see, where this might be going for our next chapter in this series, we are going to create an application that will tell us the area of a rectangle. And we're going to learn how to visualize that rectangle, maybe how to shape it, and maybe how to give it different values for the height and the width. Now, I invite you to look at the next chapter to see where we can take this. Thank you so much for being around, and I hope you enjoyed this and that you stick with coding. I need a phrase to finish these things. Anyhow, have fun, you beautiful, colorful creature.